Alright, this is just going to be the slime what if, but this one is going to be the villain path. I've already uploaded the hero path, so if you want to watch that, you can. This one is going to be the villain path. So, her backstory is basically the same, but instead of being found by the pro heroes, she is found by All For One, who finds her quirk intriguing. So he takes her in, and All For One asks her what happened to her parents, as she explains that her father had abandoned her in the forest for 5 years, and All For One is angry at this, as he would then say that people can be quite terrible things, as he would then begin to say that if you help me destroy hero society, I will ensure that people with your type of quirk are accepted into this world. As Izumi ponders this, as she then agrees to this, as she joins All For One in what is the League of Villains. Now, this is a while before All For One's fight with All Might, so All For One raises her alongside Shigaraki, who at this point I believe would be 12. Yes. All For One would state that she is our newest member, and she will be joining you in your crusade to end All Might. Actually, hold on, I'll make the age, bump up her age to where she's the same age as Shigaraki. So, as Shigaraki and Izumi get to know each other a bit more, All For One had lost his fight against All Might and is currently in the same critical condition that he is in the show, and this just fuels the fire that Shigaraki and Izumi have to hate heroes. While Izumi is walking by, she looks like this, like she did in the hero path, as she notices a purple-haired boy being bullied and being called a villain, and this is in an alleyway, so nobody can see this. So the bullies are using their quirks, and this boy is being pummeled by them. As Izumi then walks into this alleyway, as the bullies turn around, as she asks, what are you doing to this purple-haired boy? And the bullies respond with, "Well, they look like a lady. We're heroes stopping a villain." As Izumi is enraged hearing this, as she turns her arm into a sword and decapitates both of the bullies, as she then extends her arms to engulf both the bullies' heads and their bodies, basically dissolving them into bone. And the bone is currently being dissolved as well, as she then reaches her hand out to help Shinso, as he then takes and gets up, as she takes him back to their base, with with Shinso being unconscious as Izumi is currently treating him. And once Shinso wakes up, Izumi's at the end of the bed as she states that he's finally awake, and that she's glad that you're okay, that Shinso is okay. As she then Shigaraki comes in and states that those kids who are hurting you wanted to be heroes, right? As Shinso says, yes, and he hates them for it, as both Shigaraki and Izumi say at the same time, then why don't you join us in the League of Villains? As Shinso then asks why would he join them, as Izumi would repeat the words that All For One said to her, that if you help us, we can create a world where people with so-called villainous quirks, like us, will be accepted into this society, and the only way we can do that is by destroying the symbol of peace, All Might. With Shinso thinking about this and agreeing to join. Now, there are reports going around the city of 3 missing people, 2 of them being the bullies that were attacking Shinso and Shinso himself. As they do end up finding the bones of the bullies, and they then talk about Izumi's recent killing spree. But I don't have a good villain name for her, so if you have a villain name for her, suggest it in the comments down below. So, as Izumi is going around, Shinso is actually her partner in crime, as he uses his quirk to brainwash people to come over to where they are in secluded areas and kill them. And they've actually done this to not only civilians but also pro-heroes as well. So basically, Izumi, I don't have a villain name for her, is currently one of the top-rated threats in Japan, as a lot of pro-heroes are currently searching for her, with them getting more with the League of Villains getting more attention due to Izumi being a member of it and them joining up with them. So by the time of the USJ attack, they'll have a lot more villains. So I'll go over the high-ranking members of the League of Villains. So they would be... And now, in this one, Toga and Dabi end up joining a lot earlier, though they'll be there for the USJ attack. So the high-ranking members are Kurogiri, Shigaraki, All For One, Toga, Dabi, Izumi, and Shinso. And everyone else being lower-ranking villains. But Mr. Compress, Spinner, and Magni have not joined up yet. So they're still doing their own thing. So by the time the USJ rolls out, the League is they open the portal and then they appear at the USG and they state that we are the League of Villains and we are here to kill All Might. Now, Izumi is wearing a mask. And in this timeline, in the villain timeline only, or I might change my mind, Izumi had a younger brother after Hisashi dumped her off Inko and Hizashi had another child. Now, I don't have a good name for them, so if you have a name for Izumi's younger sibling, put it down below. So, once that happens, the league splits up everybody, and Izumi is staying with the Nomu and Shigaraki, while Dabi is over dealing with Todoroki, and Toga is in the rain zone, dealing with Tokiyami and Koda, who are there. And essentially, it goes the same as in canon. With in this timeline, Izumi's younger brother is the successor to One for All. So Izumi then, as they get to shore, Aizawa is currently being beaten down by the Nomu as All Might busts down the door, stating that he is here. As he then goes down to fight the Nomu, and it goes as well as in canon, but before All Might could land the final blow on the Nomu, Izumi uses her arms to tether All Might up and catches a punch, as the Nomu then lands a punch of its own, sending All Might flying. As she then as Shigaraki then, as she pulls All Might back to where she is standing, as she then pins him down, as she then states to Shigaraki that he's all his. And just before Shigaraki could decay All Might, he gets shot in the hand by Snipe, as he's currently still being shot at, but instead of them hitting the area that they did in canon, Izumi then used her quirk to make a shield to stop the bullets, which does work, as the bullets do end up dissolving as soon as they enter the shield. And Kurogiri, Shigaraki, Toga, Dabi, and Izumi and the Nomu end up escaping, with all the other villains being rounded up, and them then retreating to All For One, stating that the plan failed. We almost had All Might as well. As All For One then states that Shigaraki does not need to panic, and they'll get him next time. And that's where I'm going to leave it off. If you guys enjoyed this, I'll make another villain part.